Hey everybody, I'm Dean and welcome to Eye of the Universe. Today I'm going to show you how to use ChatGPT to write a story. So we're going to start out here. I've already logged into my account. By default, it starts a new chat. If you're already in it, you want to start a new chat because it remembers everything within the chat. So it helps you to develop the story. If you start a new chat, it may not remember what you were doing before. So that's just one thing to be aware of. All right, so I'm gonna copy and paste a couple of things I have pre-done here to make it easier. So I wanted to tell me a story about a truck driver that discovers how to make a time machine. He visits the past, and when he returns to the future, he discovers he has inadvertently negatively affected the present day. Now we can just start out with that and see what we get. But I'm going to add a little more to it so that it's a little more descriptive, because if we just go with this, it's probably going to give us kind of a general outline of what we just told it, but it may not go into some specifics. So what we want to do is we want to make the prompt a little more specific, unless you want to get a general idea that if it has any ideas, and then you can ask from there. So let's make the prompt a little more specific, see what it comes up with, and then ask it to elaborate on areas from there. So I'm going to go include what happened in the future that was negative, and let's say what was done in the past to cause the problem. All right, so let's go with that. And so now it starts writing. It's been really busy. It's become so popular. It's really busy. And a little while ago, a thing came up that says it might be a little bit slower, but still seems to go pretty fast to me as far as the responses and writing things back. So what it says here is, once upon a time, there was a truck driver named Jack who spent most of his days driving long distances across the country. Now, it uses the name Jack or just common names a lot in the stories. So if you create a story, you may have to give it the character a name, or you could give the character a name, or you could just change it later. One day, while on a particularly long haul, Jack stumbled upon an old abandoned warehouse. Being curious, he decided to investigate inside. He found an old, rusted machine. He examined it and realized it was a time machine. Excited by the possibilities, he quickly set the machine to travel back to the 1920s. When he arrived, he found himself in the middle of the Prohibition era. He spent several months living it up, visiting speakeasies, and enjoying the forbidden alcohol. However, when he turned to the present, he found that his actions in the past caused a chain reaction that led to the rise of a powerful criminal organization in the present day. This organization controlled much of the illegal alcohol trade and had a stranglehold on many cities. Jack, realizing the gravity of his actions, knew he had to fix things. He traveled back to the past, this time working to disrupt the criminal organization before it could gain power. He worked with the law enforcement and helped to shut down illegal operations, weakening the organization. When he returned to the present, for the second time, he found the criminal organization had been severely weakened and the cities were much safer. Though he had made a mistake, he was able to correct it and make the world a better place. From that day on, Jack used his time machine for the betterment of mankind. You would think he would have learned his lesson and now go mess with time again after that. So generally when ChatGPT writes a story, it tries to give it a happy ending, I've noticed. So that's one thing you can play with or to be aware of. So let's see here. He traveled back to time again, and this time working to disrupt the criminal organization. So tell us the story of how Jack caused the rise of the criminal organization. What did he do to cause its rise? Let's go with that and see what it tells us. When Jack first traveled back in time to the 20s. He was mainly focused on having a good time and enjoying the experience of being in the past. He spent his time visiting speakeasies, drinking the forbidden alcohol that was available during the Prohibition era. However, little did he know that his actions would have dire consequences in the present. As it turns out, the speakeasies he visited were run by a small group of individuals who were starting to build their criminal organization. By providing them with a steady stream of customers, Jack unknowingly helped to fund and grow the organization. That's not massively interesting there, actually. The fact that he's just buying drinks and that would cause just him. Let's see what else it says. It says, as the years went by, the organization grew stronger and more powerful, eventually becoming a major player in the legal alcohol trade. They used their profits to expand into other illegal activities such as gambling, prostitutions, and soon controlled much of the criminal activity in the cities. It wasn't until Jack returned to the present that he saw the state of the world and realized he'd been caused it. Okay, so let's stop there and let's look at this. So we need to know, it said by providing a steady stream of customers. Well, how did he do that? So let's ask that to make it elaborate more. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm asking the machine basically to give me ideas, outline things, and where it's general, I'm asking it for more specifics. So let's go back down here. Oh, I want to go tell me the story how so I'm going to just go tell me the story of how Jack let's correct that, helped provide a steady stream of customers. And I'm not going to say to the crime organization because it should, because it knows the context of this, because we're in a single chat, it should know that. So let's see what it responds with that. When Jack first traveled back to front, he was excited to experience the culture of the era. He quickly discovered speakeasies. So it's repeating some of the stuff that it said before. Visiting them and mingling with the patrons. Being friendly and outgoing person, Jack quickly made friends with many of the people he met in the speakeasies. He found that he enjoyed the atmosphere of these clandestine establishments and the sense of camaraderie and that came with drinking with others. As Jack continued to frequent the speakeasies, he began to develop a reputation as a reliable customer. Owners and staff of the speakeasy came to know him well and looked forward to his visits. They began to depend on him as a steady source of income. Jack became regular at several speakeasies. As a result, he unknowingly helped to provide a steady stream of customers for organization running the establishments. So that could still be fleshed out. The organization began to grow. Okay, so it's still not cooperating with it because we really want to know a little bit more. Like, so what we help provide. Okay, help provide. Okay, let's try. Tell us the story of how Jack influenced more people to come into the speakeasy. What did he do specifically to draw customers? So tell us the story of how Jack influenced more people to come into the speakeasy. What did he do specifically to draw customers? All right, so it's repeating kind of the same thing. Speakeasies, he began to visit them regularly. As he spent more time in the speakeasy, he realized many of them were struggling to attract customers. The owners and the staff were worried that they would shut down if they couldn't bring in enough business. Jack, being outgoing and sociable, decided to help out. He began to spread the word about the speakeasies he was visiting, telling his friends and acquaintances about the great drinks, the fun atmosphere, the camaraderie that came along with drinking with others. He also started to put up posters and flyers. This is like one. This is one problem here. When you're writing a story with ChatGPT, you may have to edit certain things out because that's a little bit unrealistic. Because you wouldn't put posters up a speakeasy as illegal, so you would spread the word, but you would want to be a little discreet about it. So that has to be reworked. Maybe he could set up parties, but he would have to invite people or find a way to invite people without broadcasting it, because otherwise the police may see it. Although the police might be paid off, or some police might be paid off, they still don't want it to be probably that noticeable. As more people began to visit speakeasies, thanks to Jack's efforts, the owners and the staff were thrilled. They began to rely on Jack's help to bring the customers. All right, tell the story of how the speakeasies handled the police when Jack made them more publicly visible. So that's a question we had there, because that's unclear, and that is one concern. The speakeasies become more popular. He did so by making them more publicly visible. Posters up and flyers. As a result, speaks to see an influx of new customers. However, this increased the visibility scrutiny of the police. See, this is what you wanted to add in. This is something that it left out. As more and more people began to visit speakeasies, the police began to take notice. They realized that the establishments were operating illegally during the Prohibition era, and they started to crack down on them. The speakeasies, knowing that they were breaking the law, had to come up with ways to evade the police. They began to use a system of secret knock, passwords, and other codes to keep police out. They also started to pay off the police in order to avoid getting shut down. As Jack helped to bring more customers to the speakeasies, he also helped bring more attention from the authorities. The speakeasies were forced to become more secretive and more reliant on bribery and corruption. This helped the criminal organization to become more entrenched and powerful. They controlled the illegal alcohol trade, and the law enforcement officials can't complete the response. It must have gotten busy. You can see they added corruption into the mix of the story, which is something that we wanted to be able to we wanted to add to the story because it was a flaw in the story. So as you write the stories with ChatGPT, see if things are plausible, see if it's missing things from the story, and see if you need to alter the prompts and the questions to get it to tell you more information about how it would evade things. Or maybe you can even start over again and add specifics that would kind of redirect the story in the direction that you want it, or to keep it from going in a direction of he's putting up flyers. So maybe you prompt it somehow and give a little more specifics, and say that he tell the prompt how he made it more popular by going around, and maybe he establishes the secret knocks or whatever. So that's the way that you can go with that. But anyway, yeah, kind of surprised that bombed out right there. I think part of the problem is we're experiencing exceptionally high demand, which they have been, because they've been becoming very popular. But anyway, that gives you an idea. Let's see if it put it back. Okay, so by reloading it, it did save it in the log there. So that's something to be aware of. If you lose it, this log actually saved it, fortunately. So, and it goes on here to say that when he goes into the future, he comes back and helps the police shut down the speakeasies, as opposed to helping the speakeasies. So he kind of switches sides, and that's kind of the second part of the story. And we could go on and continue in that vein, and continue to prompt it and go say, how did he, when he came back, how did he help the police? And it will continue to tell us more stories. So the way you really want to do it is you want to start out probably even with a more simple prompt, see how it responds, go back. You might rewrite the initial prompt, or you might just add a question or say, tell me how the character did this, or how they got around this, and it will add it to the story. And so you can build the story that way. I'm Dean, and this has been The Eye of the Universe, and I'll see you next time.